For at least 2 years, Chinese government hackers were sitting inside the networks of AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Not on the edge, not briefly. Deep inside, in the systems that U.S. law enforcement uses to request wiretaps on targets under federal investigation. They could see the wiretap requests. They knew which phone numbers the FBI was monitoring. They knew who was under surveillance. And for 2 years, nobody noticed. The group responsible is called Typhoon. It is a Chinese state-sponsored advanced persistent threat unit, meaning it operates with the knowledge, resources, and direction of the Chinese government. Typhoon is not financially motivated. It does not steal credit cards or deploy ransomware for profit. Its mission is intelligence collection. Specifically, understanding what the United States government knows, who it is watching, and what it intends to do. The entry point was the telecom infrastructure itself. U.S. carriers are legally required to build wiretap access into their networks under a 1994 law called CALEA, the Communications Assistance for Law Enforcement Act. This was designed to help the FBI. It created a standardized, built-in access point across every major U.S. carrier. Typhoon found it. And once inside those lawful intercept systems, they could observe every active surveillance request the U.S. government had filed. The breach was not discovered by any of the carriers. It was not caught by federal cybersecurity monitoring. It was flagged by a third-party security firm during an unrelated investigation. When U.S. officials were briefed on the scope of the intrusion, the reaction was described as shock. Not because China had hacked telecom infrastructure, that was known. Because of how long they had been there, and specifically because they had accessed the wiretap system. That system contains the names of every criminal target, every national security investigation, every informant whose phone is being monitored. At least 9 telecom carriers were confirmed compromised. AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile were named publicly. The others were not identified. Officials told Congress the intrusion was, quote, ongoing, meaning they could not confirm that China had been fully expelled even after the disclosure. The hackers had been inside long enough, and in deep enough positions, that complete remediation could not be guaranteed. The networks were too large, the access too entrenched. What China did with the information is not fully known publicly, but the implications are significant. If China knew which phone numbers were under FBI surveillance, they could warn the people being watched or simply observe and learn how U.S. counterintelligence operates. They could identify confidential informants. They could map the full scope of federal investigations into Chinese espionage operations inside the U.S. The wiretap system that was built to catch spies had been turned into a tool for spies. Senator Mark Warner, chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee, called it the worst telecom hack in American history. That is not hyperbole. Previous Chinese cyber operations, APT-10, APT-40, the OPM hack, were devastating. But none of them compromised the live wiretap infrastructure of every major U.S. carrier simultaneously. This was a different category of intrusion. It was not just espionage. It was surveillance of the surveillance apparatus. The FBI and CISA released joint guidance after the disclosure. The recommendation to senior government officials and political figures was stark. Stop using standard voice calls and SMS for sensitive communications. Use end-to-end encrypted messaging apps only. Signal was specifically mentioned. This is not routine advice. Federal agencies do not publicly tell government officials that the phone network is compromised. That it happened tells you something about how seriously this was taken. The CALEA architecture that enabled this attack is now under serious scrutiny. Security researchers have argued for years that mandated lawful intercept access creates structural vulnerabilities. That any backdoor built for the government is a backdoor that sophisticated adversaries will eventually find. Typhoon found it. The debate about whether law enforcement access requirements make everyone less safe is no longer theoretical. It has a 2-year case study with 9 confirmed victims. Every phone call you have ever made passed through infrastructure that was, for at least 2 years, accessible to Chinese intelligence. Not your specific calls, but the system itself, the routing, the monitoring capability, the legal access layer, was inside their reach. The carriers did not find it. The government did not find it. A third-party firm found it by accident. Salt Typhoon is still active, and the networks it compromised are the same ones running right now. The only difference between then and now is that we know about it. Salt Typhoon got in through trusted infrastructure and stayed invisible. That same playbook hit the US government first. If this unsettled you, our video on SolarWinds, how Russia sat inside federal networks for 9 months through a routine software update, shows where this method was perfected. It is on this channel.